Child, this thing is really taking its sweet behind time. This is bugging, and I don't know. I don't even know if I'm actually live or not. Oh, I hate when it's happening. I don't even know. Okay, y'all. I had to pull it up on my phone to see that it was actually streaming. What's up, Shauna? Had to actually pull it up to make sure it's actually streaming, and it is. So let's do this thing. Let's get it started. So welcome, 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 welcome. Welcome to Connessione. My name is Taisha Simpson or Karuna Anahata Ma'at. I'm a transformational coach, a death doula, ordained minister, and so many other things. But what I'm presenting today and what I'm really passionate about is how do we, people always say, oh, you create your life, or they say, you need to process that, but they never give us the tools why or how. I've previously done a live on what I call the Hall of Mirrors, which is not a new concept. The Etnab, which is what it's called in the Mayan Oracle, is ancient, right? Progressive Love Academy has a three-way mirror. People talk about mirror realities and reflections all across time and space. Greg Braden has beautiful presentations on mirrors. And so with me dropping my new book, y'all, which is going to be it's available for pre-order for the ebook on Amazon as we speak. And it will be available for physical order on April 1st. So I really recommend the physical. This was actually my first copy. I'm waiting on the copy that's now because this was only 70 pages. The second copy is 140 pages filled in with worksheets, activities, ways on how to process the mirror. Wait, here we go. Ways on how to process the mirror, charts, everything. So I'm really excited, and it also has a couple of poetry pieces from me in here. So I'm really excited. So over the next couple of months, I'll be kind of going through how do we even get to the Hall of Mirrors? Because I think I told you last time, and I have it in the intro of this, is that this is a pocket. This is a pocket tool. This is something that anytime you go through something, you can literally pull it out and be like, okay, I'm going through XYZ. What is going on? And because it's a pocket tool, you got to understand how to even get to this, right? Because you're not just going to pick up the book and then get the writing. You might, you know what I'm saying? Especially somebody like me, I'm super reflective. I love to write. And so I can pick this up and get to writing, but I know that there are steps that need to be taken before I can enter the Hall of Mirrors. And so this week and my next live, I'll go over those processes and we'll be going over Hall of Mirrors. So I'm super excited. I'm super excited, y'all, and it really is so cute. It even has the images are beautiful. This is a page on shame, and then it allows you to kind of go in and fill in the different things that you may go through when it comes to shame. So I'm really excited about this. So in lieu of this dropping again, it is the pre-order for the ebook is already up. But the physical copies will be available April 1st. And I'm so excited. Because, y'all, every situation that you could ever go through in life is a mirror for it. Okay, so I take you through in this book, I take you through the core mirrors of manifestation. That's what I take you through first, which is parallels. Those are mirrors that I do the same thing. It's parallel to me. I understand I do the same thing. Then we go over possibilities or mirrors of potential. We go over, so that's the thing that I want that thing, or I suppress that thing, or I don't do that thing. I go over that mirror in here. Polarity mirrors are gender harmonics. So if you like, my man is not he's not leading me, he's not guiding me, he's not mentoring me, that mirror will look like, okay, well, what does my devotion look like? What does my ability to be led, right? Whatever. That's in there. And then, of course, the mirror of all mirrors, the programming mirror is in there, which is the mirror of, this is my program. This is what I've learned my whole life. And so this is what I believe. This is what I expect, all these things. So really exciting. And then, so those three core mirrors are modeled specifically from Progressive Love Academy. Love it. What makes the Hall of Mirrors different is it goes into our physical reality that may not have to do with a particular human in front of us. So, for instance, we have the inanimate animation mirror, which is my phone steady dying. Um, do I take my own time to recharge? Do I rest? My phone is mirroring aspects of myself that do not recharge. Okay, then we have Gaia's Echo. That's mirrors from the planet. This is like COVID was a huge echo from Gaia. It was a huge mirror for us to go ahead and go within. So that's in there. And then echoes from the body, which is you can get messages from your body about what is going on with you. I say it all the time, assist. A boil is repressed anger. It's anger boiling over to the top. It's anger boiling over. So really excited about this little ditty. And again, I'm like, dang, it's already printed. Title's already done. Because I'm like, this is really pocket mirror. This is a pocket mirror. You can pull this out anytime. And I'm going, like, I'll actually do an example before I start for the day. But okay, a parallel mirror. I had started writing in there, said, um, this person is needy. I too am needy. This person be trying to advise. I be trying to advise people all the time. Then when I got to my remedies, I was like, well, you know, although I am needy, I still love myself. Um, Another parallel remedy is, was am I willing to give my partner the same acceptance? So it went something like, all humans want their needs met. This is not something I want to change about myself. And so when we don't want to change something about ourselves, we have to give it some love and compassion. So the remedies are there. Another parallel remedy, and I've went over this before, but it says, how much time would it take you? So I said, I feel like I need 3 months to get myself together and not need others so much. I'm willing to give the same amount of time to said person. So, and again, I'm in here, y'all. I'm using it. This is actually, again, this was like my first print copy. So I just started getting really into it. But I mean, it's the bomb. It has charts. It has charts on like what different messages from the body could there be. So really excited about that. But in the meantime, in between times, we're actually going to, okay, we're not because it won't let me share my screen. But hey, whatever. So, in order to even enter into the Hall of Mirrors, the first thing that's so important is that you have tenets over your life. Hold up. Okay, sorry, y'all. I'm again technical difficulty, so I'm just trying to make sure that this is actually uh working. Okay, so anyway, so the first tenet before you ever enter the Hall of Mirrors, and these are the tenets of balanced embodiment. Again, they are adapted and adopted from Progressive Love Academy. But the first tenet is, I create my life. I create my life is the acknowledgement that I have innate power and responsibility as a conscious being to shape. reality through what I believe, through what I think, and through what I intend. And so, in order to really embody, I create my life, it involves understanding that the material world is illusion by its very nature. It is Maya. And recognizing that our perceptions and belief play a fundamental role in manifesting our experiences is really deeply understanding this. Hey, Rubino Canto. So, by aligning with our true nature and harnessing the creative power of consciousness, we're actually co creating with life a life that reflects our highest purpose and potential. So, even when we're unconsciously creating, we are still creating whatever it is we need on our journey. So, we are always creating things. One of the things in the book that I have is that things are not our fault, but they are our creation. And so a lot of times with the I create my life rhetoric, what I've seen, even with Marianne Williamson, right? She ran for president. And a lot of people, they didn't want to accept her because they feel like she's victim blaming. A lot of people feel like the I create my life statement is saying that, oh, I asked for this to happen and no one deserves for this to happen. It's so fucked up. But what's really happening is that your higher self, because remember your three parts, in which I'll go over the three parts of us on, I think that's March 29th is my next live. So I'll go over animal, ego, higher self more in depth than I have before, left and right brain more in depth than I had before. But so those of us that are already know animal, ego, higher self, you know that the physical body is just the physical body. It's very temporary. It's just our animal self, right? The part of us that is constantly creating is our higher self. And our higher self is creating the situations and circumstances it is that we need in order to grow. So when you look at a tool like Hall of Mirrors, it is in essence just showing you what is the next lesson in life, what is the next growth point, what is the next thing that you need to grow from, and of the things that are happening around you, what is it truly trying to show you? So we create our lives by projecting our reality that's within into the outside world, knowing that everything we see and everything we experience is really a reflection of the inner world. That's why somebody could come in here yelling right now and I might not give a damn, but my daughter might get really flustered. You understand what I'm saying? Somebody could come in right now and throw a ball, and I may say that's disrespectful, while you may be like, it's time to play. So everything that we experience is really a reflection of our inner world. Your inner world is your thoughts, feelings, and experiences, and your higher knowing. So in a centrifugal, right, there is no out there out there. Everything out there is a reflection of what's in here. In an offshoot, I create my own universe. I am the center. I am the never changing self, and all is an extension of me because I'm an extension of all. So each of us are having our own universe. Like whenever you're on in a car outside and it's a bunch of traffic, every single individual on that road with you is experiencing something that you're not experiencing. That deep knowing is going to usher us into peace. It's going to usher us into the Hall of Mirrors. Knowing that my daughter isn't doing anything to me, I am perceiving her via the lens of what I believe or what I was taught. So every person is having their own universe at all times. Now, what that in essence means is that nothing is against you. Nothing can ever be against you. All things serve to further you. All is well, and you are really peace itself. That's the deepest knowing, is that all is well. Okay? That's the first tenet of balanced embodiment. So I tell anybody, if you want to enter the Hall of Mirrors, you have to deeply yearn. I want to say you have to deeply know that you create your life, but it's okay if you don't know it. You have to have a yearning, a wanting, a you have to have parts of you that are like, yo, I want to dive deep like this. So the next tenet of balanced embodiment is that you are 100% accountable for your life. There is no shame, no blame. Again, there's nothing against you. Everything is supporting your growth. You shape your reality. All events are pathways again to wisdom. This is what it is showing me. So when you take responsibility for your inner world, you start to understand that your life is just a mirror of your beliefs. If I walk into a room and I'm like, man, I don't trust people, people ain't shit. Do you know that everyone in that room then turns into a person that I don't trust or a person that ain't shit? Because I've already entered the space with that belief, with that reality. And so this is a in a lot of ways, this is why we do go through the same things over and over. We do manifest the same situations because although the people may change, the environment may change, all the things may change, whatever is happening in your inner world has not changed. You still have a belief about something. Oh, he didn't tell me the truth. Nobody, no men don't know how to keep it real. Blah 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 blah. You keep experiencing that because number one, you have a belief that you need to know everyone's business. You have a belief around control. You have a belief that people are not honest. There's all these things that are shaping your reality. And so you will manifest a person that is fitting that role until you can change your belief about what is happening. My daughter loved to play. She loved to play. I will be freaking out saying how disrespectful she is if I didn't transform my perception of disrespect and play. She loves to play. She's not trying to be disrespectful. She's being a human being. She's being a young person. And honestly, I would like her to stay a young person as long as possible, right? So I need to change. I needed to change my beliefs about her. So embracing personal accountability is knowing that every situation is an opportunity for growth and transformation. So when we notice, we can start to really create our reality with intention and awareness. Okay. The next tenet, this embodies 100% personal responsibility. Personal responsibility. That means that, you know what? I'm not a victim. I'm not a victim. I'm not a villain. Actually, there are no victims or villains. No one is ever doing anything to me. You understand what I'm saying? So this one, hold on one second. This one, no victims, no villains. It says, yo, like I actually am the sole creator of my experiences and I shape every aspect of my existence. So each event is going to reveal more about my power and my energy. Everything that happens, every experience offers insight to my growth. And so all experiences in essence are neutral and instructive. All experiences are neutral and instructive. The field has no bias, which is something I wrote in here. Actually, let's pull it up. The field holds no bias. Consciousness is neutral. The purpose of all things is growth. So if you're reading this workbook and you haven't already been initiated into the tenets, which we're doing right now, they're as follows. And I go over the tenets. These tenets that I'm going over with you guys today, these are a deep initiation. Like I didn't wake up one day and just believe or embody these things. It took a lot of internal work. Okay, so as you go through the workbook or you go through anything with me, um, know that it is okay if you don't subscribe to what I'm saying or you don't understand or you don't experience, right? Because I don't even use belief. I don't use the word believe. I don't believe in anything. I experience everything that I you know what I'm saying, but I don't believe nothing because belief means there's a certain level of doubt there. So I experience God, I experience healing, I experience miracles, all these things. I don't believe in them, okay? So if it's hard for you to subscribe to what I'm saying, then these tenets are not for you to try to mentalize. Instead, it's for you to really feel at the core. So where the triggers are also where the glimmers are. So that's a quote by my good friend Detrick. But yeah, so in this journal, you get kind of some of this, but it goes straight into processing. So I definitely say sit with me and get some of these other things. There's like 32 lessons that I give around this, and about 10 or 11 of them come before even the Hall of Mirrors. So the field is neutral. Your perspective is free from judgment. Well, my perspective is free from judgment and labels because I'm responsible for all aspects of my reality. I learn from all situations in my life because I created them to remember myself. So one of the most profound things on my journey was realizing that I could not be the person I am without the lived experiences that I had. One of those experiences is my parents didn't raise me, right? So although it's not my fault that they didn't raise me, my spirit and their spirit co-created that reality so that I could be doing what I came to do, right? So that's the next tenet. So the next tenet has to do with our 100% personal commitment, which means no cop outs, no dropouts. Anybody that works with me knows that no cop outs, no dropouts. I cannot cop out on myself. Okay, I cannot cop out on myself. I can leave 1,000 people. I can leave a bunch of relationships, everything. But again, if I'm going through the same repeated patterns, that means that it's me, right? So 100% personal commitment states that our journey is enriched by every situation. Relationships are eternal, shifting through phases but never truly ending. Like you could break up with John today and you're going to get with Jack in 2 weeks. You understand what I'm saying? You could break up with an Aries today, you're going to get with an Aries in 3 weeks. You're going to just continue that relationship even if you're perceiving it with other people so that you can evolve different things about you. That's it. All connections are infinite, evolving, but always present. Withdrawing from love is actually a disconnection from my true self. Trying to end love is a move away from my inner truth, right? And I navigate all connections with the understanding that love is the foundation. So my heart stays receptive to everlasting love in this lifetime. I commit to maintaining an open heart for eternal love in this life. So this tenet is all about, again, I cannot leave myself. You know, a lot of times, one thing that I actually wrote about this most recently, but it was like, why when we're going through breakups, and it's not why, I know exactly why, but I guess I wrote the post as why when we're going through breakups, we want to delete everything. We want to end the memory so much, but the love is still there. You understand what I'm saying? We think that a disconnection in the physical is a disconnection, and it's just not. Because again, you're going to run into the same lessons in which you need to get through. And you may even meet what we said, Jack. You may even meet Jack, and for quite some time you're not going through the same thing you went through with John. But the way life works on a spiral, and I'm kind of sad that I didn't put this on Hall of Mirror, but the way that life works on a spiral is that you're gonna hit that same lesson again. It's just about how are you within that lesson. So you might have left John because you felt insecure, and you're thinking that it was John, and you met Jack, and Jack made you feel so secure, but 3 years in, you're feeling insecure again. That's not because Jack did anything or anything. That is because your own higher self is like, yo, yeah, you actually never addressed this. You ran from it. So here it is again. Okay? So 100% personal commitment. So the next tenet in the one of my favorite, this is my favorite one, and I repurposed the hell out of it. The purpose is growth. The benefit is love, is the original tenet. I have it as the purpose is growth, the remembrance is love. And this has to do with 100% understanding. Now, we think the purpose is, oh, the purpose, love. But the purpose is growth. Love, the remembrance of who we are, is a benefit of the growth that we do within our circumstances and situations. So, your experiences are for you, 100% understanding. Each event is a gift for your own evolution. And let me tell you, you can look at this on a practical scale as well. Like you can literally measure response time. You can measure how you respond. You can measure the things in your life once you start to look at things as a gift towards your evolution. If you're a person that constantly shuts down and you're constantly met with people who don't, this is for your evolution. It is time to express. You get what I'm saying? So all experiences contribute to your personal development regardless of their initial appearance. I have faced egregious things. Egregious things. I have faced egregious things. We all have. The difference between how I experience those things and others is how I perceive that, and what do I think is happening at a time when I'm perceiving them egregious things happening. So I went through a miscarriage, and in it felt like I was mishandled. Yet in it, I learned to be, not learn to be, but I got a chance to exercise all this shit I talk. I say I'm so compassionate, I'm so unconditional loving, I could forgive anybody. So of course my own spirit created a circumstance that said, okay, let's test it. Are you really able to forgive anybody? So we are constantly creating circumstances that are gifts for our evolution. No matter how they look, no matter how egregious they look. I have a friend who, he was killed. He had a lot of children. The family initially wanted to retaliate. And my first thought was, damn, like, what if this is the circumstance? And it's not what if, I know this is the circumstance in which these families are being faced with love, transmutation, growth. You know what I'm saying? And not for nothing, you will notice again, because these are things you can measure. You can say, okay, I was in this type of situation for 2 years. You know what? I'll use an example. I went through something with one of my exes, love him to death. Like we're such good friends. But during the time that we was going through something, he was really like shaming and guilting himself for a reaction that he had. Right. And I was like, yo, like, let me ask you this question. When you first started to react like that, how long did it take you? He was like, seconds. I said, do you know I just sat here and antagonized you for hours? I said a different version of me would have like tried to put my hands on you. I didn't do that. That's called growth. Even if it doesn't look like growth to other people, you know you, and you know you're measuring. So again, initial appearance can be whatever, but it is what it is. So the true reward is deeper self-love. Deeper self-love. That's a true reward, because when you're able to look at everything with understanding, not only is that love for self getting deepened, now it's easier to give that to other people. And that's the thing that people really don't realize, is that when we get to go through these things and we get to love people past our perception, we're loving ourselves past that perception. And when we're loving ourselves past that perception, we're loving others past that perception. So loss is an illusion. Everything really is an illusion. There are only 5 truths, right? You exist. You will always exist. You have always existed. You are here now. There's nowhere else you can be. There's nowhere. I can't be up the block right now. I'm here right now. You understand what I'm saying? I get back what I put out. Law of reciprocity, right? Change is the only constant. And everything changes except the above 4. I could be missing one. I always do this. Every time I give this talk, I miss one, but you get what I'm saying. There are only a few truths. A few. So 100% understanding the purpose is growth, the benefit is love, the remembrance is love. It's really recognizing that each challenge is an opportunity to expand and evolve. So living from these tenets and from this understanding and saying, you know what, I choose love as my guiding force. And I can dissolve all fear by understanding. Okay? So these are the tenets of balanced embodiment. These are also the tenets, again, for Progressive Love Academy. And so anytime I'm introducing anybody to the Hall of Mirrors, it's imperative that they go through the tenets. It's imperative that they go through the principles of Isumatak. Y'all are my Kanesioni live. So many of us are facilitators, practitioners. And so what are the principles of Isumatak? What are the principles of an Isumatak? Awareness, commitment, presence, consent is love, embodied wisdom. An Isumatak is neutral. An Isumatak is non-judgmental. An Isumatak has a heart of service, is driven. They have a trust on the inside. They're purposefully aligned. And they're curious. One of the things about when you want to enter these hall of mirrors, you gotta be curious. You have to be very curious because there are things that on the surface you don't know. The conscious mind is only moving at 40 bits per millisecond. So it doesn't really have all the information needed, right? So that is the tenets before you're entering into the Hall of Mirrors, okay? So the next thing you need to know before entering into the Hall of Mirrors, what's up, Herman, is understanding yourself, right? If you don't understand all parts of yourself, it's going to be hard as hell to get into this Hall of Mirrors and really understand what's going on. So at all times, you are three parts, right? So you are animal, and what are some qualities of the animal, right? The animal is raw emotion. It reacts. Okay. The animal is emotive feeling, so it expresses. The animal experiences physical sensations, so the animal feels deeply. It responds viscerally. It acts on impulse. Right. It's in charge of our fight or flight response, and it prioritizes also our survival. The animal is also run by our hormones. So biochemical imbalances affect the animal. Okay, and we all have an animal. Like some days I'm feeling like a lion, some days I'm feeling like a cat, right? But we all have an animal aspect to us that is reactive. We all have an animal aspect to us that feels and these different things. So the part of us that is feeling is our animal, is our corporeal self, is our physical body. And so, what are some core beliefs of our animal? Victimhood, stuff is happening, living in the past or the future, worry. The animal operates in survival mode. The animal is governed by our conditioning and perception, and the animal wants to express. Sometimes the animal want to shut down, but the thing about it is that when we're talking about our animal, we're talking about the movement of emotion. And so we all have animal, right? That's this. Let's say if I could give you a physical depiction right now, animal is just this physical vessel right now. Just to give you a physical depiction, because I'm going to show you ego and higher self as well. So once you got animal down pat, you know that the animal is the expressive part of you. And that's on all terms of the spectrum. I always talk about it could be hyper or it could be hypo. It's still a polarity. It's just the same spectrum. One person is over expressing, one person is under expressing. It's still in the same spectrum. So the animal is the expressive part of us, whether that's hypo or hyper, it doesn't matter. Our second little self, when we see the little, and you see this across culture and across just many things, is you see this depiction of you with like this little angel and this little devil. The little devil is not a devil. The little devil is just your ego. And so your ego is in charge of your thoughts and perspective. The ego is constantly filtering reality through experiences. Your ego is responsible for segregated thinking. So it sees in duality, it sees separation, it sees in labels, right? The ego is responsible for labeling or othering. The ego says, you're you and I'm me. That's what the ego says. The ego says that the cat is the cat and I'm me. You know, the ego says that this person is gay and I'm me. So the ego is responsible for the labels, okay? Borders, nationalities, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's responsible for that. The ego is also logical and rational, so it creates structured understanding. It is a linear type of thinking, okay? The ego is constantly defining and attributing, so it assigns meaning and significance. If someone loves more than three people, then that is not love, right? That's the ego. That's just the ego coming with its beliefs or with its linear thinking or with its logic. The ego is responsive, so it's influenced by, again, past experiences. Okay, so what is the ego's core? What is the role of the ego? And the ego is, again, shaped by what we've been through, The ego is a voice, and many times we don't know that it's the ego speaking. We don't enter with that, and that's something that I'm gonna go over as well over the next couple of months. Is when you're speaking to somebody, if you know who you are, then you can say who is speaking. You know what? My animal is raging right now. You know what? My ego is feeling XYZ right now. You know what? My higher self knows that everything is cool, everything grows me. So the ego is not bad. The ego is actually our friend. The ego is actually one of our best friends. Actually, I wrote a whole poem on this because the ego is one of our best friends. It cares about us so much that it wants to help us navigate the world. It wants us to survive and thrive. The thing about it is that a lot of times the ego doesn't know, what it really has going on 100%. The ego doesn't know that it's creating, because the ego's job is to not even know that it exists, and it does so fucking well, right? So most of the time people are speaking from the ego. Other end is the ego's job because it's going to categorize in separate things. But the ego shows us where we are. So I say it's a best friend because our ego is our biggest teacher. If my ego is freaking upset because my daughter is running late, then there's a lesson around control or surrender or divine timing that I may need to know. But it's only by my ego being triggered that I'm able to even communicate with my higher self these knowledges, and to bring this wisdom down. So the ego is to be integrated. It's not to be like F you. Our little devil is a friend. Hello, ego. Show me what I believe. Hello, ego. Show me XYZ. And that's what the ego is constantly doing all the time. Showing us who we are, where we are, etc. And so last but not least, our little angel on this side. Now our little angel, our little higher self is lit because the higher self, it knows everything. It knows things that you cannot see. It knows things that you cannot sense with your senses. But the higher self knows. The higher self doesn't need validation. The higher self be chilling. The higher self is always at rest. The higher self knows the innate truth. It knows things beyond logic. Okay? The higher self is peaceful, integrated, it exists in harmony. The higher self is knowing, it's all knowing. It has senses without needing to rationalize. It understands. The higher self is synergistic, so it unites rather than separates. And so, what is a higher self core? Well, the higher self, everything we discussed today, the higher self serves to further our growth. It knows, it knows how to communicate with our ego, even when we don't know how to communicate with it. A higher self knows that each person's circumstance, everything is a mirror reflecting aspects of ourselves. So the higher self knows that we're always loved, we're always supported, we're irreplaceable. The higher self knows that all of our experiences serve our evolution. And the higher self knows that as aspects of divine energy, we came here to expand. We came here to know ourselves. We came here to evolve consciously, unconsciously is what we came to do. So there are benefits of the higher self knowing and integrating the ego. Because again, we need both. The higher self and the ego oftentimes is seen as opposites, but true growth comes from integrating. If I could have all the parts of me communicating at all times, baby, that's optimization. That's integration. So the higher self provides wisdom and peace, while the ego offers identity. And when we properly align them, this is how we create mastery, balance, embodiment. And so again, before entering the hall of the mirrors, it's very important to know about yourself, about your animal, your ego, about what triggers you, what doesn't. A lot of times I do speak to people and I say, we get caught up because we think trigger has to be this big explosive thing. But anything that causes any type of dissonance is triggering us. Whether it's to be overly expressive or to shut down, it's still triggering us. So the benefits of the higher self knowing is that number one, your higher self exists free from the confines of space, time, identity, conditioning, because the higher self is infinite wisdom. The higher self, it laughs at the things that we worry about. You understand what I'm saying? The higher self experiences deep inner peace. The higher self knows freedom over fear. The higher self has an unshakable self-worth. And by that, listen, when I say unshakable self-worth, the higher self has an unshakable self-worth because how the fact that you exist means you are worthy of existence. If you wasn't worthy of existence, you would not exist. And the aspects of non-existence is that it doesn't exist. So when we're worried about our worth and we not worthy, we not worthy, we're arguing with a part of us that knows just how worthy we are, and it's an argument we can never win. The higher self is expanded awareness. The higher self is non attachment and flow. It's again pure and true understanding. The higher self is true compassion and alignment with purpose. The higher self is the master within. It does not react, it responds. It has a response ability from an inner knowing. Okay? Now, integrating the ego, it has to happen in order for us to really live optimally. You got to have that integration of the ego. The ego is so misunderstood. We have people say death to the ego, kill the ego. The ego is the enemy, but it's not. The ego is simply a tool, and it's a tool that when integrated helps us navigate human experience with clarity and with confidence. When our ego is integrated, we can have effective communication. It allows us to know who's speaking. It allows us to not take things personal. It allows us to hold space on a different level for people that need space help. You know, our ego, integrating it is really an optimal survival strategy because integrating the ego says, you know what? I'm being protected when needed, but I'm also navigating life challenges and able to change things up because I know nothing is going to hurt me. Right? That's the integration part. The higher self knows that nothing can hurt you, and the ego is trying to protect you. So when you integrate them now, you living different. You having a life without fear, really. Integrating the ego is very vital for self awareness and growth, and really mastery of the human experience. Because a well integrated ego is going to be confident but not arrogant. It's going to be driven but not desperate. It's going to be defined but not divided, and that's really what is the most important thing, is coming to them aspects of ourselves where we can coexist with those that we love without a problem. You know what I'm saying? So it's nobody particularly on this live right now, so I'm not going to go over the review. But that is our animal ego higher self. So when we're entering into the Hall of Mirrors, it's really important for us to kind of know what is the animal, what is the ego, what is the higher self, because that information is going to help you move into the Hall of Mirrors. Because for me personally, and for anybody that I work with, I don't recommend just walking into the Hall of Mirrors. You need validation, you need to vent, you need to be soothed, you need to be in a different space, because if this right here, I'm gonna tell you, I'm gonna be honest with you, it's not compassionate to tell somebody, oh, you created that. It's not compassionate to tell somebody, oh, that's your fault. It's not compassionate to tell anybody any of these things when we haven't held space for the support that they need. If if uh if Yana got raped, what the hell do we look like the next day telling her, you created this so you can help women get through XYZ? No. Yana's gonna have to go through her process first. She's gonna have to let her animal feel that. She's gonna have to let her animal rage. She's gonna have to let her animal get it out. Like, if you watch videos of animals or you even have pets, when our dogs be going through something, any little thing they could play fight, and then they getting it all off, any little thing. So it's the same thing. You are still a corporeal self, you still have an animal. So it is very important that before you ever enter Hall of Mirrors, that you are doing somatic processing and other things to get these traumas and realities to live somewhere outside of the body. Because once that trauma is outside of the body, now you can become a witness to it. You can observe it. You can transform it. You can transmute it. But it's really only through going through that process. It's not compassionate. If your kid is running and they break a knee, You gonna sit there fussing about not running, or you gonna make sure that knee is good first? It's the same thing. It's the same thing. So before anybody enters the hall of mirrors, which I'm so excited about, and I'm still gonna be like, get it, get it, get it. I highly recommend tenet embodiment. Do you really believe the tenets? I highly recommend venting and soothing as a therapy. And when I'm talking about the venting and soothing, I'm talking about through up level is different, because you're gonna learn through up level and through balance embodiment, you're gonna learn how to ask for what it is you need. You can come to me and want empathy all day, and I start giving you reassurance. You have to become the agent over yourself. You have to become the person that goes, you know what, Taisha, I know what I need, and I like a hug. I don't need your advice right now. And so this is what we show you with balanced embodiment. We show you how to become your own agent. We show you how to properly create safe containers for venting and soothing. On the other end, we show you how to witness, right? If somebody has come to you and you start spewing advice, that's not witnessing. That's not up level witnessing. That's not active listening. That's different. And so anytime I take you through the hall of mirrors, it is because you are fully ready to go through it. And by fully ready, I mean you have exhausted your animal. Your animal tired. Your animal is on the floor. Done. Taisha, I'm done with this reality. I'm ready to move forward. So enter into the hall of mirrors. Just make sure you're ready for it. Um, this is not a sales thing. I'm not trying to sell nothing right now. I'm just letting you know exactly what it is that I would do, how I would move forward, all of that. And before I ever take it to my mirror, what is this trying to show me? I exhaust my animal. Those are just the processes that I have. I've You look at the statistics. Men and women that don't express are 4 times more likely to die. You understand what I'm saying? And so it's really important that we have these safe spaces. It's really important that we create these safe spaces. It's really important that we are these safe spaces for ourselves and others. And you don't have to be it for everyone all the time. There are 8 billion people, right? So when we learn proper container creation, when we learn properly how to ask for what we need, etc., we don't have to exhaust our resources, and we don't have to be exhausted. I'm literally a space holder. But I'd be exhausted if I didn't know how to properly hold space, if I didn't know how to get the people around me to create containers, if I didn't have my own self agency, all these different things in which I go over in balanced embodiment. And that's just, honestly speaking, that's just the beginning. The containers and the animal, that's just the beginning. Because once you get that down pat and you can start walking through the hall of mirrors, you can start transforming your life, because now you know the physics around it. Now you know. So anyway, thank you so much as always, Connessione. I love, 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 love y'all. It was a pleasure. I think on the next one we'll be going through left and right brain, and then walking actually through the hall of mirrors. Let's create some containers, and let's yeah, I think that's what we'll do on the 29th. So I cannot wait to see you guys then. Thank you so much for being here with me today. We didn't get into left and right brain, which is cool, because I think what we really needed to go over was that animal, ego, higher self aspect again. And I know I've given that live before, but I just want to make sure I emphasize it's very important that you know at all times who is running the show. When my ego's running the show, I know it. I'm very well aware of it. But it's people running around that they're not aware when their ego is running the show. Okay? So anyway, hit me up, y'all, if y'all got any questions. I will post in the comments the pre-order link for the Hall of Mirrors workbook. Again, it's actually, this was my first copy when I wanted to just see how it was going to come out. So it is very pocket mirror, but the new version is about double this size. It's still a pocket mirror, just more space to write down your things, get your thoughts out, whatever the case may be. And again, like, just really excited to bring this to you guys. I did say it had worksheets. I did say it had all these things. But what I didn't say is that it actually also has balanced embodiment prompts. So, optimal wording for goal statements. So, when you're dealing with a mirror of possibility, you can say, which is the thing that we suppress or we don't do it. I like my daughter says no, right? That used to be a trigger for me. It was definitely a possibilities mirror for me. I used to be a yes person, people pleaser. But right here, I embrace my own ability to say no. I surrender to the expression of putting myself first. I choose to embody no. I experience saying no as a positive quality in myself. So, what this does is that it starts to reprogram us to believe what it is we need to move forward. So, if it's triggering me that she's saying no, I need to do a lot of work around that because there's nothing wrong with saying no. And she can only give if she really got it to give. And if she says no, she ain't got it to give, right? So, very important. Anyway, that is it for today, y'all. As always, it has been such a pleasure to be live in Connessione with y'all today. I'm so excited that I was able to bring you guys Hall of Mirrors today. And yeah, now it's not letting me, Lord Jesus, it's not letting me open up the tab so that I could close the damn thing. Lord Jesus, what is happening? Okay, there we go. Listen, for like a couple of months, I've been having technical difficulties. Hey, Val.